Welcome to the podcast. My name's Skip Clark, Skip Happens podcast host, along with Skip Happens podcast co-host Ed Lamphear, president and founder of the official country music fan club. This is the podcast that will bring you the stories. We will interview the incredible up-and-coming artists out of Music City. Also, we chat with the big stars, and we talk about their journey to stardom. We also love talking to entrepreneurs. Not only that, it's people like you and I. That's all. And just remember, Skip happens. So get over it. Let's get right to the podcast. I don't know. I love that intro. There's something about that. Hello, everybody, and welcome. Y'all, welcome to the Skip Happens podcast. And here we are.
Pop-up podcast.
Yeah, it's a pop-up podcast. We call it a pop-up podcast because it wasn't really planned until like last minute. So we call these things pop-up podcasts. Although there's some that aren't, and those are, they're usually scheduled. And we try to do a podcast, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights during the week. And tonight you're going to love this. Her name is, we know her as Tessa Victoria. And very excited to have her on here tonight. She is actually from the Endicott area, Binghamton area, Southern Tier, and she has made Nashville her home, and she now goes by Tezza, and I love that. It's got that flow. It's Tezza, and Tezza, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be doing this with you.
Oh my God! When you said you would do it, I was like over the top. I go, we've got to catch up. We haven't seen each other in a long time. It's yeah. How often do you get back home?
You know what? Not as much as I would like to. Though COVID and this whole pandemic has actually made that quite a bit easier to come home. Usually I only come home. So my birthday is actually Christmas Eve.
Oh, wow.
And, I
mentioned that. That's great.
Yeah. And so usually the only time I come home, during the year is Christmas and my birthday. And so we kind of make it a 2-for-1. And, it's kind of hard when you don't see your family for, 11 months out of the year. But I've been able to come home a little bit more with, the shutdown, and Nashville's been a little crazy. So there's been some, light at the end of the tunnel.
Mm-hmm. Did you have to quarantine and all that? Do you have to, because you're flying in from Tennessee and?
Mm-hmm. Well, I actually drove.
Ah.
Yeah, it's doable. It's not pleasant, but it's doable. It's about a 14-hour drive, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done it before, but this time I did nonstop because, with everything going on. So it's doable. Yeah. It's definitely quite a drive.
So, do you have anybody in between that you can stop and visit?
I thought about it, but, in my head, I was like, I just want to get it done. Like, if I'm going to start driving, let's just keep driving until I get there.
Mm-hmm.
So it really wasn't that bad.
That's the way a guy thinks.
Oh, no. I'm a dude.
No, and I get it. Well, my wife would stop at almost every other rest area or whatever to take a break. Mm-hmm. When we go away on vacay, and if I have a 12-hour drive ahead of me, I'm going, and I'm not stopping. You're going to have to hold it. You're going to have to do whatever you need to do. But I'm just saying.
I don't want to be.
That's what you think.
I love it. Tessa, describe. We know you're in Nashville, but describe your surroundings. Where are you? Is this your place or what's going on?
I'm actually not in Nashville. I'm actually in New York right now. I'm in upstate New York.
What?
I'm with my family. I actually head back next week. I ended up prolonging my trip a little bit because of everything that was going on. Everything that I'm doing, like tonight, is all virtual. It's all on my computer or on my phone, or it's all been like that. So I've been able to do pretty much everything from wherever at this point. So I extended my trip, and I'm actually talking to you from an hour away?
No.
Yeah. Wow.
You should have jumped in the car if I had known.
Yeah. I know. We could have done lunch or something. Jeez.
Yeah, exactly. And I could have said hello to your mom. After all, I did that last night when we were putting this up in a minute by mistake.
Whether you knew it or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
She could have come to the pod zone too.
Yeah, you could have made the drive if I had you right here in my pod zone. Next time, I'm going to have to do that. I have a beautiful studio, and I'm proud to say that. So, but let's talk about you a little bit. You made the move a while ago to Nashville. How long ago was that?
I have been in Nashville for about 5 years now.
Oh, wow.
5 years. Yeah, it flies by, but I love it. I mean, if you love music, and I know you do. I know that you come down for CRS, and if you love music, there's just nowhere like Nashville. It is literally everywhere.
Did we get together at a CRS? Did we go to
We did. Yeah. It wasn't last year. I think I wasn't there for it last year, but I think it was the year before. Yeah. I loved running into you. I was like, it was so much fun.
And I think it was Mick Fury.
Yep.
Then you and I forgot where we went, but we went to see somebody play, or we hung out, had a couple of cold ones and stuff. So.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it was a good time. So tell me, how's it going for you in Nashville? You've got your music. Explain all that to us.
Yeah.
Fill us in a little bit. Where are you in your life?
So I love Nashville. I actually have been doing music for as long as I can possibly remember. But this year, just before 2020 hit, but I went into the studio and I had 4 songs that I said, I'm finally ready to put these songs together, record them the way I want to record them. It was a lot of using my friends and people that I had known and I trusted. And so we went into the studio, we did 4 songs, and I was like, I'm ready. Let's go. Let's start releasing music. I've never released music before that. So these 2 songs that I have out right now are the first 2 songs I've ever released.
Wow.
And the reaction has just been incredible. The first one we put out, I guess about a year ago now, and we hit 500,000 streams, and we're on a bunch of Spotify playlists. And then I just released my current single, Mercury Rising. We released that, almost 5 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, I saw it when you sent me. Oh no, wait a minute. What'd you release in January? You sent me. Was that the?
That was the other one.
Yes, that was
the first one.
Right.
Yep, it was Around the Truth.
Yeah.
And that one was amazing, and I was really excited about it. And again, I just was really excited to have music that I felt like was me. It took me a really long time to find who I wasn't, not who I was as an artist, but what I wanted to put out. What did I want the world to see and know as Tezza, the artist? And once I got these songs and recorded them, I feel like I finally found it. So I was just excited to be releasing music. And so if they did great, I was going to be really happy. But the first one was amazing. I just put out the second song, Mercury Rising, about 5 weeks ago. We're currently at 740,000 streams.
Yes, we were talking about that before we turned the mics on. Deb and I is like, did you see these numbers?
Oh my gosh. So yeah, I've been on a bunch of playlists before, but my goal for this song, and I think it's everyone's goal, is to get onto Hot Country on Spotify. It is the biggest country and world playlist there is. Like, there is no higher than that. And so that was my goal. I really, really wanted to get my song onto that playlist. And this past Friday, I got a notification that my song had been put on, and actually it was number 10.
Sweet.
Yeah. So it's just been like unreal. I mean, I grew up always wanting to be a part of that. And so it's been surreal that I have a chance to do that. And it's been going up. I've been watching my phone, and it goes up almost 100,000 streams a day.
Wow.
So this is amazing, being an independent artist. Are you doing anything special to market yourself? Because I mean, obviously you must know 740,000 people somewhere along the line.
I wish I knew that many people. It's been kind of surreal. I mean, I put it out, and I hoped it was going to do well, and I really believed in it. And I think that's made the biggest difference for me, is putting out music that I was 110% behind. I mean, I don't question it. I know that's what I wanted. I wanted it to sound a certain way, and I wanted the songs to be a certain thing. And I really think that has a lot to do with it. And like I said, it's just been overwhelming, and the response has been amazing. And now that I'm on Hot Country, I actually get people from all over that I do know or I don't know that will reach out and say, hey, I was at work. Someone texted me the other day and said, hey, I'm working at a t-shirt shop, and your song just came on after Granger Smith. And I was like,
oh, nice.
Damn. All right.
So yeah. So being an independent artist has been, it's a full-time job. And, ideally, eventually everyone, likes to build a team. But in the beginning, you kind of do have to do everything yourself. And, I've been lucky enough to find people along the way that have been, willing to help me. But a lot of it is just being persistent and being hardworking, and just every single day doing as much as you possibly can to get your song out there. Because that's half of the battle. It's just getting it in front of people.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And to have those numbers, and now to be on that Hot Country, it's amazing. I mean, what more can you say? I
think when I looked at that Hot Country list, I think Luke Combs was just somewhere around. Does he have a new song out?
Yeah, he's number 1 on Hot Country right now. He just released a new song, and
an
amazing song.
And you're number 10.
Number 10.
Wait a minute.
Not a bad problem to have. Yes.
Number 10 and Luke Combs is number 1.
It's been
Gosh, Tess.
so surreal.
That's amazing. Congratulations. Definitely.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm so proud of you because, you're from our neck of the woods, which is cool. And we've had.
I am. Let's put upstate New York on the map.
You talk about upstate New York, you talk about Nashville. There's a bunch of artists like you from this area that actually said, you know what, I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to go to Nashville. You guys kind of hang together. I know there's Mick Fury and there may be a couple of others.
Yeah.
I think Blaine Holcomb there. I'm not really sure, but I know there's a bunch of guys and, a bunch of artists that got up and moved to Nashville. All
Cassidy.
Yep. Cassidy. Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. Do you guys still get together and hang as a group, or do you that?
You know what? It hasn't, obviously, with this year being what it's been. It's been a little more. Yeah. But no, absolutely. I run into them all the time. It was funny because when I first moved to Nashville, I didn't realize, I actually met a whole bunch of upstate New Yorkers by going to this party that I didn't know was an upstate New York party. It was like this little cookout in a backyard. Actually, no, it was at Mick's house. It was Mick's house.
Oh, okay.
I didn't realize, but when I got there, I would say 90% of the people were from upstate New York.
Whoa, where were we? We weren't there. We missed that one.
I know. It wasn't a real party without the two of you there.
That's right. We'll tell Nick next time.
Always good to invite the radio guy, if you know what I mean.
Oh my gosh. It was a great time to begin with.
Bring Dad with me and we're good to go.
Double trouble.
No,
Double trouble.
Yeah, exactly. Tell us about your songwriting and all that. How do you get your thoughts and how do you piece all that together, your creativity? Tell us about that a little bit.
Yeah, it comes in a lot of different ways, but I think for me, I draw a lot on just my life and my experience and, things that I go throughout the day. And a lot of the times, sometimes it'll start with just sitting it down with the guitar and getting this cool little riff and being like, wow, I really love that. I'm going to write something to that. But a lot of the times with me, I've always been a sucker for a story song. I think that's why I fell in love with country music to begin with, is just, I love the songwriting and I love the stories. And so that's always been a really important part of songwriting to me. And so a lot of that I do draw on real life experiences. I mean, I've written songs about people don't know this, but I remember I used to work a job when I first moved to Nashville, and a guy came, and it was a front desk job. And I remember a guy coming in, and I don't know what it was. He had just come back from a trip, and he had told me he actually went to an older man, but he went to Burning Man, the festival.
Okay.
And for some reason, I don't know why, it's just not what you picture when you picture going to Burning Man. It was just not this man. I'm picturing young 20-year-olds partying, whatever. But he came in one time and he came back and he said, people think that when you're older, people don't change. He said, but I just went to this festival and I am a changed man. He's like, I've never experienced anything like it. And that stuck with me for some reason. I don't know what it was, but I remember coming the next day. I had a co-write and we walked in. A lot of times in Nashville, you write with other people quite a bit, which I didn't realize either. But a lot of the times there'll be 2 or 3 people in a room and you have to bounce ideas back and forth. And sometimes you're strangers, so it's not necessarily your best friend. And I remember walking in and just saying, I had this experience yesterday, and just something about what he said to me stuck with me. And we actually wrote a whole song about this man and his experience, and he has no idea. So
he will. He will one day when he hears that song.
Yeah. But it's funny because with songwriting, that man, for example, has no idea that there is an entire song written about his life. And so I think a lot of songs come from that, whether it's, someone's whole life story or just something they said in passing, sometimes you'll be mid conversation and you might say something, and to you, it's nothing. You're just having a conversation, but it kind of sticks in your head, and I'll write it down. And, again, if I'm in a co-write and they say, what do you want to write about? I might say, well, Skip said this one thing when we were having this podcast interview, and it's just really stuck with me. So you never know.
It happens.
So now I'm going to start all the artists that we've interviewed. Now I'm going to have to really carefully listen to the songs, because there might be one in there about something that we said.
You want to copyright that. You want a little portion of that.
I'll be like, hey.
You know what? I'd be honest with you. I wouldn't want to cut. It's about the artist. And you guys, and almost all the artists that we've talked to are new and up and coming artists. And if it works out for you, take it and go with it, because you guys want to live your dreams. And you know, I'm over that. I am, you know, at this point in my life, it's about you guys. I love doing what I'm doing, but it's people like you, Tezza, that need to be seen, that need to be heard. You want to live your dream. And I know your dream is being on that big stage. Your dream is being an opener somewhere and, you know, kicking ass and having you know, just fans and all that. That's what you love. And that's what you do. And you've got the whole package. So.
Oh, well, thank you. That is so sweet.
All right, let's see if there's anything else I need to say. I was just checking.
Check that off. Okay.
Yeah. All right. I said that. That's done. Okay.
Another compliment. Add at least one or two more. You know what I mean?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm not. I mean, I'm serious about what I'm saying. I was kidding about the paper.
I know. And you know what? You've always been like that. I mean, I've known you, gosh, how many years now? And you've always been such a big supporter of up and coming artists, not just the ones at the top already. And I think, especially coming from someone that's in that position, I mean, we can't thank people like both of you enough.
Thank you.
You're the ones that give us that platform when, you know, it's a struggle sometimes to get there, especially when you're here and you're not quite there yet. I mean, it's, I mean, like I said, it's all about just getting yourself out there and getting your music heard. And it takes people like you to give us those kind of opportunities. So I really appreciate it. And I know I'm speaking for all of us. When I say that.
Well, thank you for that. Go ahead.
One of the things that we do, which we couldn't continue this year, and this is great for you because you're in upstate New York. And so hopefully next year we'll be able to have you back in this area, and we have showcases. So we introduce you to new fans, we introduce fans to new music and new artists, and it becomes a win-win for everyone. And eventually you are going to be one of those ones that are up there, and you know, people got to know you and watch you climb, which is great. They watch your story of success and they feel like they're a true part of your life too. Yeah. They support you from day one.
Well, that's amazing. I would love to be a part of that. So I know when things clear up, I would love that. That would be great.
You're on the list.
Yes.
You're on the list and you're close by rather quickly.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we need you here tomorrow night.
Allegiant Airlines.
Well, the nice thing is with being from upstate New York, I've, you know, before I moved, I actually played around here quite a bit. So I've been able to keep those ties. So, you know, if 2020 wasn't what 2020 was, I would have actually been back, and I had several shows lined up opening for bigger artists that were here in New York. And so that's kind of been my goal, you know, I guess with next year now that things are postponed. So it's actually been really nice because not only do I get to come home and see my friends and family, but I get to play these shows, which makes it even more special. And so I mean, there's nothing like coming and playing in your home state. There's just nothing. There's nothing like it.
You know, we've been talking about all the good and how excited you are about the songs coming out and what you've done, and for being so young and already accomplished everything that you've accomplished. There's got to be some frustration though, trying to do certain things. What, as an independent artist, what is it that you feel is the most frustrating?
There are definitely more than not days that you are extremely frustrated, because being, you know, an independent artist does mean that you do not everything, but all these different things. You have to be that person. You know, a lot of times when you have a record deal, or you, like what we were saying, like Carrie Underwood or someone like that, you know, you have a team that goes and says, okay, we're going to focus on your social media. And then another team's going to focus on your music videos, and another team. And so being an independent artist, you really have to do all of that yourself. And it's really hard when there's only one of you and only so many days in a week to really prioritize that time, because there's just so much that goes into each facet that you don't realize. I mean, the one area that I wasn't super familiar with before I put this music out was actually streaming and releasing music. I just had never done it. And, you know, I'd been familiar with performing. I felt really comfortable. I feel like I could do whatever you needed me to do. But I was actually very intimidated by releasing music, because I've seen what goes into it, and you know, it's a lot. And and so it just, I think, like, you know, it's hard when there's one of you and you put so much time. For example, I put a lot of time into Spotify and streaming, and I just wanted to learn as much as I could. And I think that's the biggest thing I took away was, it's frustrating, but the best way to learn is to do it and to learn as much as you possibly can. I watched so many like YouTube videos and interviews, and I looked at other people that had done it and saw what they did. So the best way to do it, you know, is really to learn from someone else that's already done it or is great at what they do. You know, I watched Spotify, you know, interviews with people from this team that did strategy or A&R, and so I learned a lot. I'm still learning. And there's days that I'm like, oh my God.
Well, how cool was it after you've gone through that process of learning, you get your music onto Spotify. Now, I'll say I'm not an Apple Music person, so I don't know how their streaming works. Spotify happens to be my #1. But when you look at that Spotify list and say, oh, I've got 1. Oh, I've got 5. Oh, I got 10. Oh my God, I have 100. And then you hit 1,000, and then you hit that next level and the next level. I mean, the level of accomplishment you must feel from within has got to be through the roof because you did that yourself.
Yeah, it has just been, it's been a lot of hard work. I mean, I'm not going to go around and say, oh, it was easy, because it wasn't easy.
No, absolutely not.
But now that I'm there, you know, all of the hard work that I did put into it, while you're doing it, feels like it's never going to pay off. It does. And as an independent artist, I think anyone will tell you that. But it takes little things. Or for me, I mean, the hot country thing to me is a big thing. But it made it all feel worth it. You know, when you get that, at least something, if you can set a goal for yourself that's, you know, I say reach for the stars, but also something realistic. But I feel like if you can set goals that you have the chance of making, that's how it makes it seem a little more achievable. You know, and so to get the hot country, that literally was a dream come true. You know, since I started doing music, I've always wanted to be on that list. So it has just been absolutely surreal. And to see, like you said, see those numbers go up so quickly and have people reaching out saying that they're hearing my song, it makes all of the frustration worth it. It really does.
Gotta be awesome.
Well, that's great advice for artists, other independent artists, because sometimes they do set a goal that is just a little bit too far-fetched to reach too soon when you have these smaller attainable levels, and then you feel that sense of accomplishment, you have the confidence to go up to the next level.
Right. Yeah.
So to me, that's a quicker climb, I guess.
Yeah, and it just feels like, and I think with anything, not just being a musician, but anytime you're, you know, you work for yourself or you're, you know, entrepreneur, like you said, I say reach for the stars. So always have that goal. Always say, you know, I dream of being on the CMT stage and getting that award for Entertainer of the Year. Have that goal. But it's also important to have the goals, like you said, that are
in between.
Yeah, in between, so that you can take a breath after the frustration, after the months of frustration, and to take a minute to say, wow, I set that goal. I worked really hard and I did it. You know, it just makes everything else that every other goal that you've set just seem that much more attainable.
Skip that word entrepreneur. We were just talking about that before.
I can never say correctly. Before we went on, and I think it was before you popped on tonight, we were talking about something, and I was trying to say the word, and Deb had no idea what I was trying to say.
She's like, are you speaking English? Or?
I'm like, are you trying to say entrepreneur? He's like, yes, that's it. But here's a funny thought. We have never really looked at a musical artist as an entrepreneur, and they truly are. Just like we own our own business, several businesses. So that's kind of how we got off on this little topic, Skip and I. I'm like, of course I know that word. I'm one of those people. But we have never really addressed it that way. Yeah. You are truly an entrepreneur.
110%. And I think as I've gotten into all of this, I think more and more, it's exactly what we are. We're, you know, we're our own business, and it's great to be, you know, to have a dream and to look at it that way. But you also, for me at least, I like to be, you know, strategic about it. And I think when you look at it that way, it also makes it easier to digest and easier to accomplish. You know, like you said, you have to be, you know, I'm an artist, but I know that I'm also a brand, and you have to be cohesive with that brand. And, you know, what you say needs to match your songs, and what what you believe in also has to match all of that. And I think, you know, I think that's what makes artists that stand out and have careers that just go on and on and on. I always get asked, you know, who are your favorite artists or who you look up to? And I have a hard time answering that. But a lot of the times when I look at the people that I choose artists that are, you know, very much a brand and a thing. You know, you look at Frank Sinatra, or you look at Rihanna, or you look at AC/DC, who I love. But there's just so much a package, and it's music, but there's just so much more to it, you know?
You know, as somebody that talks to a lot of artists and I do a lot of interviews, I will not ask the question, you know, who are your favorite artists or who do you look up to or stuff. I don't think that's right. It's not about who you're looking up to or who you want to be like. It's about you. It's about who you want to be like, yourself, what you want, what you see, what you vision yourself being. That's what it's about. It's not like, oh, I want to be like Carrie Underwood, or I want to be like Rihanna, or I want to, you know, that's not what it's about. It's about you and that vision that you have of who you want to be. And that's why I refrain from always asking that. I don't think I've asked anybody that we've talked to. So.
Yeah, it's always a tough, I do get asked that question quite a bit, and I always have a tough time answering. Because like you said, as weird as that sounds, I don't strive to be just like someone. But I definitely see artists that I look at and I admire, and there's things that I take out of their career that I said, I mean, I would love if I could build a career like Beyonce, where not only her music, but you just say Beyonce and you're like, it's Beyonce. You know? So there's just little things from each artist, I think that, but that's life too. You know, you pick things, you know, what I want is this. And
you might want a career like Beyonce.
Right.
But you may not want to be like Beyonce.
Right.
There's a difference there.
Yep.
You know, Tezza, this is you. This is you. You may want to have a career that's as big as Beyonce, but you don't want to be like Beyonce. You
right.
Be Tezza.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I love that. I love that. So I've got to ask you, and I know this is one question that everybody asks. This whole pandemic thing right now, how long have you been home for?
A couple weeks now. I had planned coming for just a week or two. I think it was 2 weeks. So we had planned a family vacation actually before all this hit. And so my sister actually just had a baby. Well, not just, she's a year old now, but yeah, like I don't get to come home. So we planned this whole vacation. It was gonna be her first vacation. We're gonna go to the beach. But then, you know, this pandemic happened. And so we, you know, decided that probably wasn't the best thing to go and do. So we decided that everyone had already taken off of work. So let's just all get together and spend some time together. Yeah, so it was supposed to be like a 2-week thing. And once getting home, you know, Nashville's a city. And so the thing is, there's just a lot more people. So it's not that they're not careful necessarily. It's just that there's just so many more people that it is more prevalent. I mean, you go to the store and you assume that probably at least a person there probably has it, whether they know or not, you know?
The COVID balls are all over the place. Oh, that's what they say at work. I have a woman that I work with, and she calls it the COVID balls. They're all over the place. You go to a and no matter where you go, there's COVID balls.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get it. You know, it's like, okay, whatever, you know. But talking about the pandemic real quick. Now, this is the good side of it. You're able to spend time with your family, much needed time, what it sounds like. And that's awesome to get to see your nephew or I don't know, boy, girl, I don't know.
Little girl.
So you get to see your niece and you get to, you know, just kind of have that, make that connection. But overall, though, how has the pandemic, the quarantine, has it benefited you? Has it hurt you? Were you able to work on things while you're in Nashville because of the quarantine, or what about all that?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been a very crazy year, and it definitely, I would say there's pros and cons, because one, it definitely shifted all of my release plans. I had put the first song out and I kind of had a plan, a schedule of what I was going to do and the timing. And once the pandemic hit, I mean, it was just a free for all. So it definitely changed a lot of, especially my release plan. And also, you know, live music took a huge hit. I mean, this summer was going to be a great summer. I had, you know, multiple shows set up. A few of them are actually going to be here in New York, again, opening.
Right.
And, you know, live music is just not a thing right now. So there's definitely been that aspect of it that was tough and took some readjusting. But on the other side, it gave me a lot of time to focus on things that I didn't have the time to focus on before, which was, you know, a plan for the music. I actually had my second song. So during the pandemic, well, it's towards the end, but I actually filmed a music video.
Nice.
So I got all of that together, which is actually going to come out in 2 weeks.
Wow.
So how did you do that? Were you in Nashville or in New York?
Yeah, so I was in Nashville, and I realized that it was going to be a different type of music video because what I was working with was a pandemic. And so I went to a guy that had done my first video, and I just said, here's what I envision. I really had this picture of these weird spacey themed things and lights and just this whole vibe. And so I said, it was just me and him. So I said, here's kind of what I'm thinking. So what I ended up having to do was make my own outfits. so that was interesting. Amazon is my best friend now.
Of course.
Yeah. So the video is going to be out in about 2 weeks, but I actually ordered space suits and customized my own space suits.
I love this.
I know if I talk to you mid quarantine, like, what are you doing, Tezza? Like, oh, I'm just bedazzling some space suits. What about you?
Mm-hmm.
But it was interesting. I mean, it was definitely a turn of events, and I got something really cool that I probably wouldn't have gotten, in normal, day or schedule. And I'm really happy with how it came out. And it was a little more almost personal because I did get to make all my own outfits. I still had someone filming, and so it's still professionally filmed, but it was fun to actually sit down and get my hands on it. And there's rhinestones everywhere, a lot of lime green, a lot of spacesuits, a lot of rhinestones.
Well, we can't wait to see that. And Deb will have to put the link on her country music fan club site too. I mean,
absolutely.
Oh my God, that would be great.
That from Central New York that know you, and just kind of gives you a little bit more.
Oh my gosh, it's so much fun to come home, and all of my local radio and news are so supportive. So I come home and they're always really receptive, and they're always the ones that play my song first. And same with the music video. I can't wait to share it with you guys. I'll make sure to send you. I'll give you a little sneak peek actually, because
New York thing. That's entirely up to you, but
I'll take it. You can speak for yourself.
Love it.
Yeah, exactly.
I love sneak peeks. I mean, not that I like to ruin any kind of surprise, because I always like to be surprised. But if I could get a little peek, then it's the trailer.
Yeah,
the trailer.
You can make that work.
This is so great. Tonight we're talking with she goes by Tezza now, and but you know her as Tessa Victoria, and she's been playing around Central New York for a long time. 5 years ago, she said, I'm out of here. I'm going to Nashville. And this is where I'm going to be. I'm going to set up home in Nashville. I'm going to work on my music, and hopefully I'll get that nod and be able to go to the next level. And we'll get it. Should I get the phone?
I don't know who's calling now. Usually people don't call me during this time because they know.
You're a popular lady. I mean,
I guess someone else will get the phone.
You know what you're doing? Are you talking?
Oh my God! If the machine comes on, though, that could be a problem. I might have to scooch.
Well, if you want to go grab it.
No.
Did he get it?
I guess we got it.
The whole thing about a podcast. Sometimes the dogs go running through the studio. The phone rings. I get yelled at by my wife. I didn't do something. I don't know.
Stuff happens.
Skip happens.
Yeah, so get over it. That's all I got to say. But I'm just so happy that you took the time out to join us here tonight and talk about you and your music. And I guess our viewers and listeners can go to Spotify. They can get your music right there, add it to a list. Let's take those numbers up even a little bit more.
Yeah.
I know that is so exciting. I just, you've got something good going in your YouTube page. How many subscribers did I say? 700 and something, or?
Yeah. 756 or something. I know.
So how did you do that?
I mean, I don't know. I just put stuff out and hope people like it.
It shows that you're being successful. And I'm really surprised that other people haven't seen a lot of those numbers and said, hey, we want to talk to you, girl.
No.
You know what I mean?
It's all it takes is one, and you just keep pushing. And I'm really excited to be putting out the music that I'm putting out. And, I fully believe in it. And I think, like I said, I think that makes a huge difference. And it's just, more hard work. Let's go.
You got such a positive attitude, and I love it. That's, people your age and doing what you're doing, that's the attitude they got to have. You're going to have setbacks. And you're going to have a lot of great things going on too. So, it kind of evens itself out. It's part of life.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It happens to me in radio, and I'm sure with Deb and her 18 million businesses, it happens with her too. So Slam. No, it's all good. But I want to say thanks for just taking the time out and coming out with me here tonight. It's great to see you. I'd love to, when next time we can maybe together do a little bit of a show, as Deb talked about, get you in front of some people. You got a ton of fans around here. And we put you up there with some other artists, and we would definitely have a good time with that. We're putting together some shows. We're just waiting for the green light.
I know. We all are. Let's go. Please, 2021.
Exactly.
Well, I would love that. And thank you so much for having me. Like I said, it's been forever since I've seen you, and I always keep up with everything you're doing. And I love your podcast. I'm just so glad that you reached out and you let me be a part of it.
Yeah. And it was a last minute. It's called what we call a pop-up podcast.
Yeah. It happens,
And make sure that anybody that's watching this, that subscribe to the YouTube channel, Skip Happens. Also, Deb, your Facebook is what?
Facebook at the official CMFC. So if you get a chance, like our page, we'll like your page back. And then this way, when your releases come out, we can tag you and get them all out to all our followers, and we'll cross-reference there. So
it's big.
A lot of new fans coming your way.
Yeah. I'll make sure to subscribe to all of it. I love both of you, and whatever you do, I'm liking and I'm following.
I love it. Tezza, I was just going to say Tessa, but Tezza, I got to get, because you're rebranded. Can we just ask, why did you rebrand?
I had originally been going by my first name and my middle name. And I always just I actually like my first name, and I would have loved to just go by that. And it just, Tessa Victoria is my name. It just felt, I don't know, it's hard to say your middle name. It doesn't feel like right. And so I wanted to go by Tessa, but Tessa's a lot harder because there's a lot of people that have the name Tessa. So I was able to rebrand, just change it a tiny bit, Tezza, and we're good to go.
I like it. I think it's a good choice. You did well. Tezza, everybody, here again, if I just back up a little bit, Tessa Victoria is who we're talking to tonight. You may know her by that, but she's going under Tezza now. Make sure you check it out. Get her music, Spotify, Facebook, where social media. I'm sure you're all over Instagram and all that stuff. So
my handle is just @the.Tezza on pretty much everything.
You
just Google Tezza.
Tezza, Mercury Rising. You'll find me.
Yeah, great song, by the way. Get it. I'm just get it. All right. Tezza, everybody, thanks for joining us on Skip Happens here tonight, the Skip Happens podcast.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good night.